Hey everyone, welcome back. Dr. Erik here from MedBetter Health, where we talk all things dementia. Now, a question I get asked all the time is, Dr. Erik, how do I manage certain behavioral changes in my person living with dementia? So today, we're going to be talking exactly about that. Are you ready? Let's go. All right. So, first of all, I want to talk to you guys about the core mindset. Usually, you, the caregiver, you may feel sometimes that, you know what, this problem behavior, it's a behavioral issue, right? It's not actually a communication issue. But what I want you to think about is, no, I want you to think like this. Behavior is communication. All right, I want you to repeat after me. Behavior is communication. In your person living with dementia, they may not be able to communicate certain things. Therefore, that triggers a specific behavior. Think about a little baby, right? When you had a little baby and the baby wanted to eat, or the baby wanted to go to the bathroom, what would the baby do? The baby would cry. The baby would be agitated, right? That is the key. Behavior is communication. Okay, so as we go, let's talk about the framework for understanding these behavioral changes. And it's called the ABC method and framework. Okay, ABC. What does the A stand for? The A standard for antecedent. Antecedent, Dr. Erik, that's an interesting word, antecedent. When ante means before, so antecedent means the trigger, the root, the cause, that there's something that's a trigger that's making your person living with dementia have a specific what? Have a specific B. That's the behavior. That's the action that they take. That's the expression that they have. Okay, and then obviously, because of that behavior, then there's a C. There's a consequence. There's a response. There's an outcome. So whenever you have an abnormal behavior, when I mean by abnormal, I mean agitation, aggression, think about what is the trigger. So as we go through the triggers, let's talk about internal triggers, because there's two types of triggers, right? There's internal and then there's external. Let's go through the internal. Internal triggers could be physical triggers, and I've mentioned a little bit about that, like unmet basic needs, hunger, thirst, fatigue, bathroom needs, right? Pain, illness, UTIs, those are all internal triggers. What about sensory deficits, right? If I usually wear my hearing aids and now the batteries have died and my daughter's supposed to bring it in or someone's supposed to bring me the replacement, but they got busy, something happened, and now I can't hear and I'm a person living with dementia, now I'm having specific sensory deficits, which could do what? That's a trigger. To do what? To elicit a certain behavior, correct? That's the ABC. Okay, emotional trigger. Feelings of fear, loneliness, lack of purpose. Did you know that anyone who has lack of purpose has a significant increase in risk of accelerating dementia progression? That's huge. Okay, mental health, depressions, delusions, hallucinations, all these things are internal triggers. Now let's go through the environmental triggers, and I talk about this all the time, right? What usually happens when you have a baby? When you have a baby in the home and they're sleeping, what do you usually say? Shh, don't wake anybody up. Be quiet. If there's too much noise, it's going to wake the baby up, right? Well, think about a person living with dementia. If the home has sensory overload, noise, clutter, clouds, the lighting is off, the temperature is too hot, the temperature is too cold, these things could be triggers. And all the time people say, oh, it's just the dementia acting up. It's just the behavior. Oh, let me call my doctor. Let's give my person living with dementia a medication to calm them down. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to give medication. Sometimes you need to. But before you do, you should identify what the trigger is. What is the antecedent? Part of the ABC method that we're talking about. All right, it could be task-related, complexity. You're giving your loved one too many steps to do. They feel overwhelmed. That's another reason why they can have agitation, aggression, certain behavioral outputs. And of course, staff interactions, family interactions, come on, we gotta go, mom. Come on, hurry up. We're late already to the appointment, right? Or speaking too fast, communicating in an aggressive way, showing your face and making the face kind of mean and upset. These are all antecedents that can trigger certain behavioral manifestations. So if you're listening to this, this is incredible, right? Okay, now, recognizing expressions of distress, agitation, and aggression. What are you going to hear? How would you, as a caregiver, identify this specific distress? Well, agitation and aggression, verbal yelling, physical hitting. Don't just think it's a dementia. As soon as your loved one starts doing that, identify what is it that's causing that. We've talked about sundowning in my previous visit with you guys. That's when you have increased confusion in late afternoon. Wandering, we've talked about as well, right? That's aimless walking due to boredom. So someone's just walking, and you should take a look at some of my other videos on YouTube that we go deep into the sundowning and the wandering. And then repetition and rummaging, right? Searching belongings or repeatedly asking the same questions. Why are they doing that? Because they're anxious about something. Okay, moving on. Prevention, building a foundation of comfort. Number one, you got to simplify and empower. Don't overcomplicate. Break tasks into small steps. Number two, the power of routine. Remember, persons living with dementia, they get overwhelmed with different situations happening at different times. However, if you have a specific routine, 8 a.m. breakfast, 9 a.m. exercise, 11 a.m. knitting exercises, right? 1 p.m. going to the park and walking around. And if that routine is kept, that will decrease certain anxiety and behavioral changes that your loved one has. And obviously addressing the basic needs. Go back to the basics. It's all about the basics, right? We're talking about, could they be hungry? Can they be thirsty? May they want to go to the bathroom, right? So check these sensory needs before you start assuming it's a behavioral issue. It could be a what? A what? A communication. Remember, when they have these aggressive behaviors, it's not a behavior. It's what? It's them communicating to you. Okay, now, this is incredible. And by the way, this is what we teach in a new model called the guide model. And the best part about it is that the guide model actually doesn't cost you a thing. It's a new Medicare program because through the years, right, Medicare has focused on what? On the patient. But what about you? What about you, the caregiver? Whoever thought about you? Whoever thought about educating you and giving you these type of tips? Whoever thought about you having your own one-on-one care navigator? Think about it, that you could call anytime, 24/7 helpline and a hotline if you have any questions like this. So that's the new program called the Guide Model. And we here at MedBetter Health, we provide that guide model services for you as the caregiver. So you're going to see a link over here on top. When you go to that link, you'll see a video. It's like a 5-minute video that goes through each and every step of what the guide model is. On the bottom, there's an application that you could fill out. It's relatively quick. Will take you less than 3 minutes to fill out. Once you fill it out and you know, and we'll tell you that you qualify, your life is going to change. We're going to be able to help you so much and guide you through all of this thing called dementia, right? Okay, are you ready? Let's continue. Engaging the senses to soothe. Very, very amazing is touch and massage therapy. Now, it's not for everybody because not everything is for anybody, right? We're different. But a lot of times, imagine coming up to your loved one and doing touch and says, honey, and they're kind of getting aggressive and saying, honey, I love you so much. You're so amazing. I miss you. Is it okay if I give you, oh no, remember, it's a control thing, so always ask, is it okay if I give you a hug right now because I miss you so much? Imagine that. A simple thing like that, and you give your dad or your mom a hug, and you kiss them and you say, I love you, Mom. You're so special. That is touch therapy, massage therapy, music therapy, right? Dad grew up on Frank Sinatra. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars, right? And you're putting that song and Dad's listening and he's smiling and he's loving it. And 5 minutes before that, he was agitated. What did you do? Music therapy, right? And personalized playlist. You're not going to play Tupac and Biggie to your dad who loved Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra, right? So personalized music therapy. Multisensory stimulation, specific rooms or bubbles, and aromatherapy. Aromatherapy is up and coming via citrus oils to calm anxiety, specific scents, right, which will cause folks to be more calm and more relaxed. And then this is very important, validation therapy. I cannot stress this enough. Never argue with your person living with dementia. Always validate. Oh, look, I see Henry. Henry's amazing, right? And Henry's actually his dad. Never argue, oh, that's not your dad. Always validate. Yes, yes, look, that's Grandpa. That's amazing, Dad. Always validate. Don't argue. Accept the person's reality. Reminiscence therapy, right? You reminisce, show albums, pictures, music, events from something that Dad would remember. That's incredible as well. And pet therapy. You know, again, not for everybody. If Dad was afraid of dogs, you're not going to bring in a big bulldog and say that's pet therapy. You bring a little nice doggy and, oh, Dad, let's pet it, only if it's not going to trigger fear. And you would know that knowing your dad. Okay, so today we talked about a lot, and I want to end with this. If you're a caregiver and you're exhausted and you don't know who to turn to and you need help and even you need some time off, let's say you'd love to have 4 hours every Sunday for like 18 weeks where someone could come in, stay with Mom and Dad, and you can catch a break. You can go have lunch with your family. You can play golf if you needed to and you love to. There's a new program called the Guide Model through MedBetter Health. And if you're interested in finding out how you can get this new program and help for you, for your mom, for your dad, let us know. Again, there is a website over here. Click on it, right? Or go to that website. It's very, very easy. Watch the 5-minute video, fill out the quick application, and then you will see how your life will change. If you thought this video was incredible, subscribe, comment below, and we love to see you in the next episode. See you soon.